Last year, audiences were enthralled with the daring series Andor, wondering where will the story go next and how can they possibly top the stellar first season. Here to hopefully give us a little more insight is the executive producer and showrunner for Andor, Tony Gilroy. And he brought someone else with him too. Andor himself, Diego Luna!
This is crazy.
That is quite the reception.
Wow.
I think they like your show a little bit.
What?
Just a little.
What?
I think they like Andor. I'm just gonna yell over the yelling. We're all very excited to have you here.
Wow, what a thing. Wow. All right. Saludos.
Now, the last time you were at a Star Wars celebration, Andor hadn't arrived yet. No one had seen it. What's it like getting this kind of reception today, but also just the fan reaction to season one?
I'm gonna tell you, as a writer, I don't know how many other writers have ever just seen what I've seen. I'm gonna tell you, this is every writer's dream. And I know there's a few writers in this room, I'm sure. This does not happen. So, okay.
It's a little overwhelming.
This will not happen to you.
overwhelming.
It's not happening to me.
This is all a dream.
It's amazing. I mean, yeah. First of all, let me just say that you are amazing. I mean, this day has been very special. We worked really hard, you know, and we had an idea of the love around the Star Wars, but there's no way to see this coming, you know, this energy of being around you after we deliver one season, and while we are working on the second one, this means a lot to see that you care about what we do. It's so special, like. Yeah. And we will, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to set and tell everyone what we went through, because this energy needs to spread on set. You know, everyone doing our Andor has to know that you guys care so much about what we do.
Hopefully some of them are watching it right now. Since we're live streaming, they can watch it from set. I know some folks are probably still working diligently today. Diego, I wanted to talk a little bit, go back to the beginning on Cassian for just a moment, and then we'll talk more about season 2, I hope, if you'll allow it.
Let's do that.
So Cassian, of course, we met in Rogue One. He's a completely different character than the Cassian we now know from Andor season 1. How do you handle that complexity of this character and still make him someone that I personally want to root for? Does everybody here want to root for Cassian Andor? Got some Cassian fans.
I think eso, sí.
Yes.
Eso, un saludo a todos los que hablan español por aquí, ¿eh? Que sé que son muchos. Gracias por su apoyo, la verdad. Qué chingón saber que están aquí. Sorry, I'm gonna switch to English. Basically, I think Cassian is just a regular guy, is someone making choices in a world that is very difficult, to survive in, and it's trying to succeed in finding what's there for him. I see just a regular guy that happens to be at the beginning of first season in this horrible circumstance, where there is no other way out, and I believe
Is there one way out?
Exactly. Wow. But I think Tony does something amazing in the way he writes that scene, where the moment where he chooses to pull the trigger, there's no other way. There's nothing else he could do. And you are with him. And you know that his life is about to change in that moment. And we live it from, we're not judging it from the outside. We are with him, He went there to look for his sister, and now he finds himself in this moment, and he has to do it. He has to do it. It's very dramatic, but it's also very realistic. How many times we found ourselves in a situation that we say, like, we don't want to be this person now, but we have to, I love how it starts and how complex it makes the whole journey, And it doesn't apply if you're looking for, in storytelling, for good and bad, and to choose right away who's going to be the hero and who are you going to regret their actions. Well, this is not that serious. This is about people, real people, with their flaws and contradictions, and all of that is there from the start,
Absolutely, and it all comes down to gorgeous writing, Tony. Gorgeous. I absolutely, personally love everything about what you've done with this series. But Diego, to your point, it is a difficult world. You've built a lot of duality into this. You give us a fresh perspective on the Empire, and we're also seeing behind closed doors of the Republic with what Mon Mothma is going through. Of course, Genevieve was just out here moments ago. What did you want to make sure that audiences understood deeply at their core, in their bones, about both of these factions, the Empire and the Republic, in a way that we had never seen before in previous Star Wars storytelling?
I want to engage you emotionally all the time. I want you to feel as if everything that you're seeing exists and that it exists off the frame. And everybody knows, everybody here knows all kinds of people. The neighbor that you despise and the boss that you hate, or the children that you love, whatever it is. There's no division of heroes and villains in our lives. It's a distinction that we make based on what we feel. So the whole thing for me is I want you to live through all of them. And the Empire is evil at its core for an evil purpose, but the practitioners of that, the people who make it happen, are ordinary people. We don't have to go back and, it's an easy analogy to the Nazis, but you go along, people go along. Well, sometimes you're making your purchase orders. Sometimes you're, putting the next piece of the Death Star on the conveyor belt. I want you to live inside all of these people, and that's what I care about.
All right, I gotta ask about that next piece of the Death Star on the conveyor as well. I'm sorry, spoilers! Spoilers! It's okay. When did you come up with the idea that Cassian was literally building the thing that will ultimately kill him?
We had a very short 5-day writer's room with my brother Dan Gilroy and Bo Willimon and Luke Hull, who's our production designer, was there, and Zana Wallenberg was there watching. And we just blitzed through. I had about 100 pages of stuff, and the beginning and the end. But we wanted a prison, and we didn't want to do a prison, as I said before, we didn't want to do a prison unless we could do something absolutely spectacular and fresh, because there's so many great prison movies, and if we can't do it, then if we can't find something new. And at some point, I really don't remember, and they don't remember either, someone said, well, what about electric floors? And we're like, oh, well, what about this? And this prison started to emerge, this behavioral. And we went back the next day, and then we have to start figuring out what it is they're making and how many guys on the floor and what should it be like. And it's like building a watch. What are you going to do? And I think everybody kind of jumped on the idea right away. It's like, well, what if he's building the thing that's going to kill him, you know? And we were really surprised that I think some people must have picked up on it along the way. But we were really surprised at the number of people that were actually shocked by when we thought that would be, but it came up in the planning.
Diego, when did you find out about?
I mean, it was pretty clear. I mean, and I happen to know the
He's a
writer.
producer on the show.
I happen to know the writer also. I tend to have dinners with him.
Yeah.
We
still
open
talking.
bottles of wine, you know,
still
and
friends.
we talk about life and what we're doing. And no, of course, I'm part of the process, which is a beautiful thing, because, you know, as actors, you get there when things are already moving forward, when everything is designed and built, you know, and it's so nice to be part of a project when it's just ideas, when it's sketches. I've been witnessing the process of Luke, of Michael, of like the whole team, and it's a beautiful thing, because the moment I'm on set, I own everything. You know, I understand why we are dressed the way we are, why we are sitting where we are, and if you have a question, you can make it when it's time. You know, there's so many things that like we actors do that are wrong, but one is like, oh, does it really have to be this table? And you go like, no, it is this table. We are shooting, you know?
Right.
So if you're going to question something, make sure it's time for that question to have an impact and an action, you know? And here I was invited from the beginning, which is great, yeah. I'm spoiled now.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I love most about Andor is the monologues. You one-upped yourself, I think, a couple of times where I thought, this might be the finest monologue I've ever heard in Star Wars. And then the next week, a new monologue. What makes for a good Star Wars monologue in your mind, Tony?
You know, and then to the writers out there, I mean, look, you have to have, the musket has to be packed. I mean, there has to be some momentum behind it. So you can't just have somebody, I've done that though. I started a movie once with a monologue like that. But the person has to be in an emotional state to give it. You have to understand what it is they want to say, and it can't be some bogus thing that they just want to be speaking. It has to be worthy of the moment. But I'll be really honest with you. I've written a lot of them. I mean, we did Devil's Advocate, and I mean, I've written all kinds of, I've written a speech for the presidents and all kinds of things. They're not the most difficult thing to write, for me anyway. They're actually, they're not transactional. It's really about the potency of the ideas and what's there, but there are much getting 8 people in a room that you're introducing for the first time that are speaking together, that are trying to tell you something important, that's really difficult. Writing the scenes for Cyril and Edie, those little micro scenes, you know, getting on the frequency to write Cyril and Edie is in many ways more complicated than writing Andy Serkis's big speech at the end, because you know what he's got to say. And you know what, you know, I mean, and the poetry's the poetry, and you have time to think about it, but they're not, and you don't want to think of them as sporting events either. They have to be legit. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to, you know, let's get one in here. It's not like that.
Yeah, put it in front of Stellan Skarsgård. It is legit.
It helps
becomes
to have
very
Stellan
legit very
Skarsgård.
quickly.
It helps to have Andy Serkis.
Absolutely.
That really gives you.
Absolutely.
It helps to have Fiona Shaw.
Fiona Shaw, you know.
It gives you a big leg up.
When you mentioned Cyril Eady, who I love, I also couldn't help but think of Cassian and Marva, another mother-son duo from the show, and Fiona's amazing speech/monologue at the very end there in the final
Well,
episode.
I mean, that's like a gimme. You get to the point you go, oh my God, she's gonna die, and we have a hologram. And we did the hologram with Mads and Rogue, so there was like, oh, you know, these things are really powerful. And like, oh my God, if you could give your own eulogy, it's sort of everybody's fantasy, isn't it? Maybe not everybody's fantasy, but certainly not everybody's family's fantasy to have your, yeah, Granny's gonna tell you what she really thinks now. But boy, talk about packing the musket. I mean, and the whole key to that speech is, there's one line, what'd she say? Oh, I remember when I came here when I was like 9 years old with my sister and we held hands all the way. And you get that line and you write that line and you go, oh man, that's everything. So she's been coming here her whole life. They do this all the time. Even when I'm saying it, it breaks my heart, you know?
Yeah.
And so if it breaks your own heart, then it's gonna break somebody else's heart.
It broke my heart. It
Good.
broke my heart over and over and over again, and I just kept watching it anyway. Glutton for punishment. All right, I promised we would try to talk about season 2, so if we may, are we still excited about season 2? Yeah.
It's gonna be a short talk, right? I mean, you're not gonna get us anything. You're not gonna get anything from us.
Let's see.
We've
I
been
don't know.
tested. You have the really cool swag jacket, but I
Thank
don't know.
you.
And also the chair and the tools are really impressive.
You see the.
Are these torture
Oh,
season
now
2
we're
tools?
now we're just vamping a little bit, I think. I won't. I promise not to torture you.
All right, go
but
ahead.
Thank you.
isn't that heavy though? That is some
It is heavy. It is
heft
heavy.
to it, right?
Yes, it's not. This is not a prop.
That's not a prop.
No.
This
We
is
should probably
definitely
glue
not
that
a
down.
prop. But anyway, yes.
All right. I know you can't tell us much, spoilers and all that, but Diego, I'll start with you. What do you have in store for us for season 2?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's simple. I just want to add something about the monologues. First of all,
Sure.
that I mean, the simple answer is that when Tony Gilroy writes them, something else happens, you know, and it's because of that. It's because he's writing from the heart. Like you don't write to break people's hearts. You write from the heart, and that breaks people's hearts, you know. So I think the monologues here are not about information. They're just about the soul, you know, of the characters, and it's the moment they almost say what you already know, and having the characters say it establishes a connection that is really strong. I mean, anyway, I wanted to say that. Sorry, but season 2. It's the what am I gonna say? Nothing. It's the 4 years before Rogue One. It ends in the moment Rogue One starts. We're hoping you watch it and right away you see Rogue One. You'll see a different film. You'll see it through a different, you know, perspective. And you know that Cassian. So much has to happen to this character. He's in, but he doesn't know what he just stepped in, you know? He doesn't speak the language. He said, kill me or let me in, but now he has to find out what it means to be part of that and what's needed from him, you know, and become a spy, basically.
I can't believe you ended the season like that and then made us all wait.
God, well, we did. Yeah.
How dare. No.
All right, I mean, everyone knows we're going to go 4 years, as he said. What can I tell you? I mean, think about the revolution and think about it from Luthen Rael's point of view and Saw Gerrera's point of view and Mon Mothma's point of view. And they've started off as original gangsters in this thing, and it's underground, and it's secret, and it's small, and it's isolated and contained. And now, in 4 years, it's going to go big. So think about any restaurant that you knew that started off as a coffee shop and turned. Think about any startup company. What happens? And things get very, very complicated. And if your stock and trade of your business is paranoia and secrecy and betrayal and heavy consequences, expanding your business is really difficult. And then think about it from the imperial side, and they are getting very, very close to a very important energy project. People may have heard of it. It's an energy project. And so I guess that's not a surprise, but I think you'll see the wear and tear. You'll see all the stresses, all the heartbreak and all the triumph of the 20 or 30 people that we're carrying forward with Cassian at the center. You'll see those people stumble forward into a very complicated bit of chaos and history that we will pay attention to. So for the people that are here, you know, the people that are really care about canon and the people that are really, and this audience is just, you know, we're gonna really try to, we're gonna work the calendar. There's events on our calendar, and you know what they are, some of them, and they're very important, and we will play those out. I will say one thing, because it is a moment of quiet and everybody's here. Like, this audience, not this audience, right? This is why we got to make the show. I mean, no, it's not, and it's not like, it's not a bullshit, like, I'm not, like, seriously, when you leave, whatever else, you are investors in our show in a way you don't even understand, because it's your passionate, insane loyalty that gave Disney the guts to gamble on something like this. If we don't have you, we can't play this hard.
Well said. Well said.
So I'm not telling you anything else.
That's it. That's all right. Andor Season 2, it's complicated. Thank you both so much for being here.
I need to interrupt you because I
You are
also,
more than welcome
I have
to
a
interrupt.
feeling you're about to kick us out. You started like that, you know, like
Started to play you
when
off,
you
I
start
know.
like, oh well, you go like shit. I'm gonna be in my car in minutes, and I know this is because this gets to be seen everywhere in Latin America. It's yes, everyone's awake. So I'm just gonna send a quick message to everyone watching this
Yes.
from afar.
Yes.
Un saludo a todos en América Latina. Este evento fue en Londres, pero desde aquí les mando un abrazo y les agradezco a nombre de todo el equipo de Andor el apoyo, el cariño, y estamos ya haciendo la temporada 2 gracias a que ustedes vieron el show. Así que muchísimas, muchísimas gracias. There's even Mexican flags here. What is this? Sorry.
No,
You were
no,
saying.
absolutely no. You know, if it were up to me, we would just continue talking all day, but unfortunately it's not. Thank you both so much. Gracias for being here. I know you have a whole season of television to work on, so we are going to let you go, but Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.